Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this October meeting of the Delaware County Juvenile Detention Board of Managers. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joining us virtually today is, let's see, Marie Williams. Ms. Williams, would you announce yourself?
I'm here.
And we also have Councilwoman Schaefer.
Hello, everyone.
All right, great. As a matter of administrative, we did have an executive session yesterday to discuss matters of public safety. And with that, we can move on to the first round of public comment. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the board with regard to agenda items, now would be the time. Hearing none, we can move on to an approval of the September minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And we can now move on to the monthly detained youth report from the Court Probation Services. Is there someone here from Court Probation Services? Doesn't appear that there is. So I guess we're not having that. Did you hear anything from them, David?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give a quick update just in terms of on behalf of our probation partners. We currently have 5 young people that's 1 at Abraxas, Morgantown, 2 at Chester County, 1 at Bucks, and 1 in Jefferson County, Ohio. 2 at Chester County, I apologize.
All right. I don't think any of this is news for members of the board, but if there are any other questions on the report. Hearing none, David, you can go into your monthly report.
Thank you, board. Just quick 3 announcement updates for us all today. So October 12th and 13th, we worked with our public works team and Spiesel Architecture Group to complete our environmental survey and our architectural engineer survey. Our asbestos lab results should be back in 1 week. I was told yesterday that our NPDES submission should be submitted by November 1st. Again, that's our National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System survey. I want to publicly thank our solicitor, Carlton Johnson, our legal team. He's been working tirelessly with connecting us to Pennsylvania's Department of Environmental Protection. And we're hoping to set up a series of meetings around expediting our application process. I've also, Mike and I have met with Middle Township earlier in the year. We're reaching back out to set up an additional meeting to update them on our demolition process.
So there's no update on that front as of yet?
Yeah, so we just reached out yesterday, I believe it was, and we're looking for a response, but we're looking to keep them updated on what we're doing. Any questions just in regards to that from the board?
Yeah, I had a quick question. And it's been a while, so I know you told us this, but I've forgotten. Are we on schedule? So everything is basically proceeding on the timeline that was originally presented, and there have been no hiccups other than waiting for folks to respond to meeting requests. Is that correct?
Well, in terms of original schedule, Mr. Reed and our public works team presented out last month. It's in terms of an update on schedule as it relates to the October 24th demolition. But again, we're working with our legal team and the state on seeing if we can expedite some of those processes in place.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of our next announcement, again, I've talked about it in our last meeting, but our next meeting will have a presentation from CCLP, looking to make sure you all have that set of recommendations in report form a couple business days before our meeting. But I'm looking to you all to be able to hopefully vote and endorse that plan and be able to move it forward to our local county council. And I also want to take the time just to kind of publicly thank. We had 42 community members who participated in our local youth diversion planning committee. I want to give a special shout out to 10 who almost had perfect attendance. Mr. Darren Laws, Mr. Andre Sims, Mrs. Diamond Gibbs, Mrs. Tasseline Morales, Mrs. Melita Reagan, Mrs. Adelaide Evans, Dr. O from the Delaware County Foundation, our very own Reverend James Turner, Captain Alon Morgan from Chester Police Department, and Mrs. Tombina Austin. Just want to let folks know I personally appreciate their dedication to our process. Another thank you to Delaware County Foundation, who helped us provide food and refreshments during our time with our volunteers. I would say overall it was a pretty meaningful experience.
And so, David, you're saying next month we'll have more of a report out from that?
So CCLP will actually be here and present out the results that we found.
Great.
Can I ask a quick question about that? Other than their presentation, you said there was something that we were going to review before the next meeting because you're going to be asking for board action. Can you talk to us a little bit about not necessarily the findings, we'll read those, but like what should we be expecting to get in terms of I don't know, format and structure, the products of that subcommittee and planning group?
Sure. I mean, not to give too much away in terms of the secret sauce, but obviously we've asked CCLP to do an evaluation, look at our local data and really evaluate our processes on the front end with emphasis on diversion and prevention. We've asked them as a national perspective to formulate these recommendations. We've asked them to correlate those recommendations with Pennsylvania's Juvenile Justice Task Force. And again, we've met with over 42 community members for them to have their set of recommendations as well. So I think the way it's formatted is you'll have a national recommendation connected with a state recommendation as well as a local community member recommendation. I think it'll be formatted sort of in that way, if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. And the recommendations themselves, without giving too much away, as you've said, will have sort of actions for other stakeholders who may or may not have been a part of the planning process, or is it a mix? Do you know what I mean? Like, are we making recommendations, or does the report make recommendations for other departments that may or may not be represented here?
There will be recommendations regarding other departments, but they were all at the table. So they all have been made aware of the recommendations. They were part of building them. We formed a local juvenile justice leadership council, which consisted of myself, our chief of juvenile probation, Danielle DiMatteo, our chief of human services and community supports, Ms. Sandy Garrison, our chief public defender in the juvenile division, as well as Katie McGee, who's our ADA over the juvenile division as well. So I think all of partners have been at the table, as well as our local Stoney fellow, Miss Anne Marie Ambrose.
Great. So then it's fair for the board to assume that all of the relevant stakeholders, where there's some kind of recommendation that implicates them, had an opportunity to weigh in before we are, tasked with voting on anything.
They were part of the building process, as well as they'll have an opportunity to view the draft prior to coming to the board to make sure that collectively all our thoughts have been included.
Great, thank you.
That's it for me.
All
Any
right.
questions from the board?
Any other questions for David? Okay. Any old business from board members? Any new business? All right, we'll move on to public comment. Seeing none. Any last board member comments for today? This is a quick meeting, but it sounds like we'll have more to speak around tomorrow, next month, I should say. If nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Go Phils.
Bye,
Go
everyone.
Phils. Take care.
Minutes on the meter.